everybody, my name's Megan White, this is S'more, and today we're going to do a yoga flow that focuses on opening up your chest. I know a lot of us slouch over computers all day, and sometimes we think about having better posture through our back, but a really important component to good posture is having a nice open chest. So today's flow is fairly quick, but I think you'll find that it's really beneficial in terms of sitting up straighter and even breathing easier. So let's get started in a pose called puppy pose. S'more might join us, we'll see. Puppy pose is a lot like child's pose. So if you've found that puppy pose doesn't work in your body, just hit child's pose. But for those of you who'd like to try it, we'll just go ahead and the lower part of your body stays a lot like child's pose. The upper part is where you're gonna see the difference. So booty comes up to the sky, and we're thinking, again, of our chest opening, so our chest lowering to the ground. Your chin can come down to the mat. It can come over to one side, whatever feels best. And then you just sort of let gravity do the work. So with time, you'll notice, perhaps, that you feel a nice stretch in your upper back, and you start to feel that chest open up. You might even feel this in your shoulders. For those of us who put one cheek on the side, we'll go ahead and flip over just so our neck gets a nice stretch as well. And just open up. Really, really nice. This pose can be strainful, but at the same time, it can be relaxing if you can just sort of think of releasing down to the pose and letting gravity take control. Then as you're ready, we'll just walk those hands up. Be very careful of your shoulders, but we are gonna move into another shoulder roll. So I'll show you this one. We start in tabletop, and when I would go into this one, if this doesn't work in your body, just stay in tabletop and move through cat-cow. But for those of you who would like to give it a try, I'm gonna keep my left hand on the mat. First, I'm gonna open up nice and wide, looking towards the right side of the room, and then swing that right arm under the left armpit and come onto my shoulder, onto my right shoulder. And here again, we're gonna stay with the booty up towards the ceiling, so that puppy dog pose in the lower half. But you'll notice that we're starting to put a nice amount of pressure on the shoulder. You can intensify that by using my left hand and pushing back more on the shoulder if you'd like, or come off of it, closing down towards the mat a little bit more. So you can go ahead and play with that pressure as whatever feels best for you. And then we're gonna come through on the opposite side. So left hand plants nice and firm on the mat. Lift ourselves back up, coming back into that tabletop position, and then we'll do the same thing opposite side. So this time I'm gonna open up nice and wide with my left hand, take that left hand and just thread the needle essentially, coming down through the opposite side. And here you can see from the back, if you'd like a little more intensity, you can even try a bind. So I'm taking my right hand up and bringing it across my back, sort of aiming for that thigh. Totally optional. Feel free to not do the bind if you don't like, and just really focus in on opening up that shoulder. Beautiful. And as you're ready, we'll plant the right hand back down, come back through into tabletop position. And now we're gonna go through up dog or cobra. So we'll start by laying all the way down on the mat. First I'll do cobra, then I'll do up dog. And normally we think of this as sort of a back bend, but I wanted to show you how it can be a really nice chest opener too. So first with cobra, both hands come down sort of towards the chest. And as we're lifting up, instead of just thinking of the back bend part, think of broadening through the shoulders. So give it a try there. You can really ground down into the hands, but think of broadening. And we'll come back down. We'll do this 2 more times. So again, if you'd like to come into cobra, come into the poses you'd like. But really this time, think of maybe even moving the chest towards the front of the mat. So not quite as important how high we get here since we're focusing on the chest, but more how much the collarbones broaden. We'll come all the way down. For this last one, I'm gonna go into up dog. So for up dog, the tops of your feet and your hands should really be the only thing on the mat. Just something to keep in mind if you'd like to do up dog. So here I'm lifting all the way up and coming up, right? My arms are really nice and strong, but then I'm also, again, broadening through the chest. You can even let that head dip back a little bit if you'd like. Really nice. And then we'll come back down really, really gently.
And then we're gonna do a pose that a lot of us do in yoga that doesn't necessarily focus on opening the chest, but it's just a nice way to get a full body stretch, which is down dog. Hands are gonna plant firmly on the mat. Tip yourself back up, booties up towards the ceiling. And here, if you'd like, feel free to walk that dog. Nice way to stretch out those toes. This is one of my favorite ways to stretch out the toes. And then we'll just ever so slightly walk our feet up towards our hands and take a moment to just relax into ragdoll. So I'm gonna take my hands and put them at my wrists, and you can just sort of sway back and forth if that feels good in your body. Of course, hands can be down on the mat too, whatever you'd prefer. Beautiful. And as you're ready, we're just gonna roll on up and come into mountain pose at the top of our mat so we can move through this flow. Coming into a nice mountain pose, I'm gonna keep my left foot exactly where it is. My right foot's gonna step back, and I'm gonna raise up into crescent. But here, because we are focusing on chest openers, I'm gonna change my hands into goalposts. So basically 90-degree angle, but think about pushing the chest towards the front of the mat. Really, really nice. And then we're gonna come through into a twist. So twist to whatever degree feels good. Here is a twist, or here is a twist, whichever one. But again, instead of collapsing down, maybe think of broadening through, even if you'd like to look back. Nice little play of balance. And then we're gonna come back through and come into triangle. So I wanted to show you how triangle can be a chest opener too. So we're gonna come all the way down, and then think of broadening out through the chest, pushing that chest towards the front of the room. Really, really nice. And then we'll plant both hands, step back, and feel free to take a flow if you'd like. If not, you can just meet us in down dog and push back. And now we're gonna do the same thing, but opposite side. So I'm gonna swing my right foot up, come all the way through, and come up into a nice crescent lunge. Really, really nice, those goalpost arms. And now we'll come around into that twist towards the opposite side. Again, whichever variation works best for you. Nice stretch in the low back here as well. Perfect. And we'll come all the way through and then come into triangle again. So again, this might be a little bit easier to see from this side, how we can really work on broadening through the chest in triangle. So you might notice that you're doing this, and that's totally fine, but think of opening up a little bit more. Great place to use a block too, if you find that helpful. And then we'll come down, front foot goes back to meet the back, chaturanga, up dog, push back into downward facing dog. Let's go through one more flow, and I'll show you this time how you can use side angle to go ahead and open up through the chest. So from the down dog position, I'm gonna lift my right leg up, swing it all the way through, come back up into that crescent lunge. Again, goalpost arms if you'd like. And then I'm just going to twist all the way over to my right side, to whatever degree feels best. And then this time, come all the way through into side angle. Front foot faces the front of the mat, back foot is perpendicular, and here we open up into side angle. So side angle, you can come here with your forearm on your quad, if that works for you. This is a little bit more intense for those who are really working on those abs. You can come here. If you really want to open through the chest, give the bind a try. So we can either come all the way here and our hands start to grasp, or even just playing here, opening up through the chest. So here my left hand is coming down kind of towards my booty and opening up. Turn that head up to the ceiling if you can. Both hands plant, front foot comes back to meet the back. You lower down into chaturanga, push up into that up dog. Cobra is a great option here. Push all the way back. And now one last side, left leg reaches all the way up. We come on through, up to our crescent lunge. Goalpost those arms, really, really nice. And then We swing on through into a twist. Again, collarbones broadening. Beautiful. And come through our side angle. So toes facing the front of the mat, perpendicular. Now you can see that bind from the back. So for those who want to give it a try, you see my right hand comes here and I start to look up. If you want even more, left hand interlaces. But again, think of opening through the chest. We don't want to sacrifice that chest opener just to do the bind. So if you find yourself here, maybe wait on that bind for a little while. Both hands plant, front foot comes back to meet the back, and we chaturanga. Push through up dog, push back through downward facing dog. Walk those feet up, and now we're coming right back down onto the booty. So whichever way you'd like, go ahead and get there. And now we're gonna get into a relaxing pose, which is a heart opener. It's called heart box. I like to use blocks for this one. If you don't want to use blocks, that's no problem, you don't have blocks. A blanket works great, a book works great, whatever works for you. So this pose takes a bit to get into, but I promise you it's worth it. So I'm gonna put one block here on the low setting. I'm gonna put another block here on the higher setting. And now I'm gonna relax down. So I wanna have this block in between my shoulder blades. Coming all the way down. And the head is supported by that second block. Legs can be in butterfly. They can be up over the head, whatever works. Now this is kind of an intense pose. If this doesn't work for you, simply come into butterfly and relax. If you'd like to just skip the block option, you can also take the block like so, and then have your shoulder blades kind of come right above it and do this. This might be a little less intense for people. So just pick whichever one works. Take some time. There is no rush in yoga, particularly with this, because we're letting gravity take the lead and we're really letting those shoulder blades relax down. So take a moment to figure out what works best in your body and just breathe into it. And I think you'll notice the more you do chest openers even, the easier it becomes to take those deep breaths. If you think about it, if we're hunched over, how much real estate do we have to take oxygen in? So it's nice to think about strengthening the back, sitting up straight, but sitting up straight also means shoulders back, and shoulders back means chest open. So there's motivation here. I know a lot of people want flexibility so they can get into some interesting poses or feel better throughout their day, and we don't always think of opening up through the chest to feel better, but the more you can kind of play with triangle, side angle, what have you, and think of broadening through the chest instead of just trying to get into the flexibility of the pose, the more benefits you're really going to enjoy. And I was just talking you through this because this is sort of a yin pose and we do wind up being here for a little bit longer than some of the other poses. Feel free to stay here as long as you'd like. We're just going to move into Shavasana next. So if this is working in your body, go ahead and relax here. For those who, are ready to come out, we just come up slightly. Think of your hands helping you, of course, and then blocks come wherever blocks should be, wherever works for you, because we're gonna relax down in Shavasana. And with that, we're gonna think again of even here. Now this is a pose that you're just relaxing and letting go. There's no strain or stress. But perhaps when you're laying in bed tonight, think about if you're laying on your back, can you broaden through those shoulder blades and get a little bit of a deeper breath? I even notice when I automatically lay down, the blades of my shoulders are kind of just wherever they are. But if I kind of move back and relax down, wow, big opener with not a lot of effort. Not a tricky pose to get into, just being a little bit more mindful. And if you'd like to relax here, because you do have more time, please feel free. For those that need to get going, I'll join you and we'll come up to a seat. And that's it. So I hope you found today's class enjoyable and helpful. Great tips to take throughout your yoga practice and every day, or maybe just keep running through this as you start to feel the tightness in your chest and see with time if you happen to open up a little bit, breathe a little bit easier, and just feel better in your body. Thank you so much for your time. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.